Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, one of my Christmas presents today, long overdue. I did film this once already and I had a problem with my memory card which I didn't realise and I had to film it again. So here we go, second time, lucky hopefully. It is from the great LAST ARK of the Covenant of Wingnut Wings kits, aka the final container. Not the final countdown, the final container. And known as the LAST ARK, that came from New Zealand, and I was given this gift very kindly on Christmas Day. And it is the Sopwith 5F1 Dolphin. Now this is an interesting aircraft. So it's a late World War I aircraft. And it's got some interesting features. So let me just read to you the brilliant, because we never need to do any reading up on the internet when we have Wingnut Wings kits. Sadly they're gone now, of course. 6 years since they've been gone, isn't that amazing? Was it 6.5 years, I think? Anyway, it says the Sopwith 5F1 Dolphin was a 4-gun excuse me, high altitude fighter designed in 1917, so toward the end of the war, to be powered by the promising new 200 horsepower Hispano-Suiza V8 geared Hisso engine, which is included in this model. One other overriding consideration for the design was to overcome the staggeringly poor visibility caused by the top wing centre section of the otherwise remarkably successful Sopwith Camel. The initial Dolphin prototype, rolled out on May 1917, featured 2 bay wings with negative stagger. Negative stagger? A completely open top centre wing section, and we should just look at the box art because it gives you a hint about this if you look very closely. Look at the pilot. You've got a tri-decker coming in. Is it the Red Baron? No, it's not red. But he's looking up and he's seeing the threat in a way that you wouldn't do in the Camel. Obviously the Germans probably realised that the Camel had this blind spot above the pilot. So they came in from high and dived down on them. They wouldn't see them coming. This is to cure that very problem. And you can see it's got like a windscreen at the front and this cut out section where you've almost got 2 separate wings instead of having one straight across. Very clever, very clever. That's typical, evolution via combat, isn't it? In terms of the technology being deployed there, technical development. And it goes on to say, subsequent prototypes incorporated numerous improvements in both performance and their appearance. And production aircraft started to be delivered in late November 1917, so only a year to go to the end of the war. They didn't know that, of course. An unusual feature was the twin upward firing Lewis guns fitted above the cockpit, although the port gun was quickly deleted and the starboard gun was frequently removed in service. Doesn't really show that here. But never mind, we'll get into that. I'm sure it will do in the instructions. Nearly 1,800 Dolphins were built, quite a lot, by the Sopwith Aviation Company, Hooper and Company, and the Darracq Motor Engineering Company Limited. 3 different companies. The Dolphin was officially declared obsolete by the Royal Air Force in September 1921. But a small number continued to see service with Poland until the early 1920s. How about that? So on the side, you have got some nice options. You've got 5 different options here. And they include the Royal Naval Air Service at Dover in 1918. You've got, Dover, yes. Then you've got the Red Star 6, SARD, I'm not sure what that means actually. Then we've got Dolphin U, and this is J.W. Pearson, who had 12 victories. Wow. And C.E. Walton, they obviously shared the aircraft, with 1 question victory. And that was RAF. May to July 1918, doesn't say where they were stationed. And then you've got Q, R.B. Bannerman, got 17 victories. Oh Lord, they've got some real aces flying these aircraft. Must have been pretty good then if there's so many aces in it, you know. Powerful engine though, isn't it? And you've got A-Flight, 87 Squadron, and this is H.J. Larkin. And this is in August to November 1918, the very end of World War One, and he had 11 victories. That's incredible. Wow, okay. Other side, nothing really, just the usual mumble really about different languages. So, get ready for me to open the Ark one last time, because I haven't seen this kit before at all, and I've not been looking at it much because I didn't want to. I haven't looked at the instructions, so I kept it. I was going to do the review, so it'd be fresh. So here we go. Get ready for lightning and phantoms and ghouls to come blasting out in a burst of light. Oh no, we're okay. That joke has got old. Anyway, let's have a look. So we've got the usual fairly simple layout. Sprues which match the box size, so we don't have any shaking about, which is something that others could learn from. Airfix, who was the other one recently? That I had. I can't remember. There was another one recently with a very mismatched size of sprue compared to the box. Now then, better warn you, because this is from the Lost Ark of the Covenant, and I probably won't be building it anytime soon, we won't be opening the bags, I'm afraid. That's just the way it is. But I think that we'll get a flavour of it. Try to preserve it. Could end up being my pension, this, or it might get built, but who knows. So we've got some very nice looking decals. Check these out. From Cartograph, of course. As good as you'll find anywhere, I reckon. Look at this. Look at those. Nice, aren't they? I like this sort of later RAF. Funny, isn't it? It's almost like the scheme World War II type, or even later 1980s scheme, really. Interesting. Late 70s. When did they change it? It was 73, I think. They started to go back to the 2-colour low-vis scheme. So it's interesting that they were sort of tinkering around with it already back in 1918, you know. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't roll that out and adopt it widely, really. Yes, very nice indeed. And we've also got some photo etch. What is it? Is it the seat belts? I think it's the seat belts mainly. One thing I did like about Wingnut Wings, they didn't go silly with their photo etch. They didn't go crazy with it. They just kept it to the minimum, really. Where they thought that it was needed, they used it, and they didn't try and use it for everything, like you get with Edward, for example. Very nice. So those are rather spiffing, aren't they? Yes, I wasn't expecting a Wingnut Wings kit for my Christmas present. That was quite a nice bonus for Christmas. Super. So, let's have a read. Give you the full story then, because obviously the actual review will be fairly short, because I'm not in the bag and there's not that many sprues to look at. So it says, I think it's going to repeat a lot of what I've said. Oh, maybe not. No, it's quite different. Okay. Make yourself comfortable. I'll read you a story. It says that the Dolphin was designed during the second quarter of 1917 to make use of the promising new engine from Hispano-Suiza. It had already been used to power the SPAD 13 and the SE5A, and of course you've seen my review of the SE5A. It was actually Jeff 72, Jeff Flood's model, wasn't it, from Ireland. So I had to reluctantly surrender and give back, but I did manage to pick one up myself in the end, so I'm okay. Wasn't cheap though, it was about 200 quid. Ouch! Anyway, goes on to say, about the wing section, and the Sopwith camel have this blind spot. We've got that bit already. It then goes on to say it has the unbalanced camel-style rudder fin, unbalanced, okay, and wooden undercarriage with V-struts, okay, quite strong and simple. The very deep fuselage occupied the full height of the wing gap and featured, yes of course, that's what it's to do, it's to give the strength to the wing, isn't it? Because they've split it, they're trying to basically make it have more stability. And it features a tall radiator in front of the engine. Okay. Its first flight was delayed due to problems securing a suitable example of the engine. The second prototype appeared in late July 1917 and incorporated numerous improvements, including a balanced rudder, cutouts at the bottom of the wings, in the bottom wings, removing the frontal radiator, which allowed the streamlining of the nose. Because I was going to say, as I just read it out, I thought, I'm not sure where they put the radiator there. Think of the SE5, the radiator is stuck straight in front, isn't it? Yeah? This is trying to make it more aerodynamic. Yes, so streamlining of the nose and replacing it with twin radiators mounted in the top wings. Twin radiators mounted in the top wings? Really? Okay, we'll get to that. I can't see it in the artwork. These radiators proved ineffective, so in turn were replaced by versions mounted on the sides of the fuselage. Ah, that's what we can see. Right, and that's what probably, yeah, that's why I can't see it in the artwork. So let's just have a look at the artwork again and you get what we're talking about, because it is important to, rather than me just sit here reading, you can actually see what it's talking about here. So think of the SE5 with its massive radiator stuck out front. You know, it's all radiator, isn't it, in front of the propeller and spinner. So with this one, they've made it much more aero, and they've gone and mounted the radiators here. I wonder what they were when I looked at the first image. Interesting. Very interesting. It goes on to say, the cutouts in the bottom wings were deleted for the prototypes, which appeared during October, and introduced a more substantial fin, lowered rear decking, and twin upward firing Lewis guns, which don't appear to be on this one in the picture. Do they? We'll get to that. It was pretty much in this form that the initial production Dolphins were delivered in late November 1917. Except that they had reduced negative wing stagger and the steel tube undercarriage V-struts instead of wood. Okay, I think this has got aluminium, steel. I mean. The twin Lewis guns proved heavy and cumbersome, so the port gun was quickly deleted, and frequently the starboard gun was also removed in service. Early production Sopwith, these things like Schrager music, isn't it, in World War II? They're all very well in theory, but if it makes your aircraft lumbering and slow, it can put you at a big disadvantage in an air combat situation, can't it? It's a bit like it's a bit going back to the recent review I did on the VT1/2 tank, VT2, with the twin guns. It's all very well in theory, but if your tank gets hit in the tracks and slightly immobilised, it becomes useless, doesn't it? Just a big roadblock, really. Same thinking. Theoretical advantages that probably don't play out. Anyway, it goes on to say, early production Sopwith Dolphins featured a birch plywood tail skid, 4-inch radiators and vertical neck padding on the centre section. Neck padding on the centre section. I think that's around the wing, they mean. There were several attempts to provide roll-over protection for the pilot's exposed head, but none were adopted, although some late production aircraft featured a quick release for the port cockpit rigging to allow the pilot to escape from an upturned aircraft. Oh, okay, gosh. This doesn't sound very safe, does it? Other improvements incorporated on late production aircraft included a steel tube tail skid instead of wood, 8-inch radiators and a centre section with improved Aldis sight mounts and more streamlined padding. Supply and reliability problems with the Hispano-Suiza geared Hisso engines would continue to plague the Dolphin for most of its service life, as they did on the SE5. But eventually it became very well regarded as a high-altitude fighter. The Dolphin was developed for the French in mid-1918 to utilise a 300 horsepower direct drive version of the Hispano-Suiza engine, and the US Air Service ordered over 2,000 to be built by SACA in France, but the armistice was signed before they were delivered and the order was therefore cancelled. Bad luck, eh? I bet they were kicking themselves. The Sopwith Dolphin 3 was under development shortly before the armistice was signed and was to utilise the much more reliable direct drive Viper version of the Hispano-Suiza engine. Only a handful of these Mark IIIs were produced and can be identified by their lower propeller thrust line and fully cowled Vickers machine guns. Oh, and a cowling, okay. Nearly 1,800 Dolphins were built by the Sopwith Aviation Company, Hoopers, and also the Darrett Motor Company. And as we said before, it was discontinued in 1921, but they went to Poland with what was left. World War I aircraft colours, and it starts talking about the pigments and things. Right, so that's it. So, basic data: wingspan 32 feet, 32.5 feet, length 22.5 feet, maximum weight just under a ton. Jeez, that weighs barely more than we had the little smart Brabus Roadster sports car about 10, 12 years ago, maybe longer, 15 years ago, and that only weighed 900 kilos. So it's the same as that, isn't it? Maximum speed 128 miles per hour. Gosh, 1,779 were manufactured in total, and it had two 303 Vickers machine guns and two 303 Lewis machine guns and a variety of bombs. Right, zoom you in. Let's have a look at this. Enough of me talking. Let's have a look. What a treat we're in for. Something we haven't seen before. I haven't anyway. Alright, so we've got the usual sprue trees. We'll just glance over that and we'll get straight into the interesting bits. This is why we love Wingnut Wings. I'm definitely going to build one. I am pledging to build one. It's definitely on my bucket list. My modelling bucket list. Probably the camel I'll do. Anyway, here we go. You've got your Lloyd Loom seat. Very comfy. Good grief. Complete with a cushion. Pilot seat's got a big cushion on it there. Look at that. Couldn't make it up, could you? It's coming a bit closer. There we are. And then you've got all your the main petrol tank sitting directly behind the unprotected pilot. That's pretty safe, right? Okay. And then we've got hydraulic pumps for pressurising the synchronisation system for the guns, and you need to do that, otherwise if your synchronisation goes, you're going to shoot your own propeller off, unfortunately. Ash engine bearers. Look at that. I love the way they do these illustrations. They're so clear, aren't they? The reserve petrol tank. Gravity petrol tank. Reserve petrol tank? It's not very big, is it? Oh my lord. Really? Tiny. And then we've got the geared Hispano-Suiza engine, which of course was very powerful, 200 horsepower. A lot of power, that in 1917. It's a lot of power. It's got one of the most powerful engines that was in the sky. Surely, look at it. Wow, it looks quite advanced, doesn't it, really, to be honest. It's got all the details are here there. Look at this. Every detail you can want. The manifold details, shows you the sump there on the left. All the water piping, engine block, intake for the carburetors. What does it say here? One under maintenance here. A dozen manufacturers built the engine under license. Wow. Magnetos and disassembled carburetor and manifold. Excellent. Then we go into the cockpit. Let's go back a little bit. There we go. And it also shows an illustration here. You got your two Vickers machine guns here, and it says Officers of 87 Squadron, a photograph of the Twin Vickers guns crudely arranged in Dolphin configuration for a test demonstration. Ah. Yeah, there they are, look. Look at that. Gun setup. What's this then? Engine bay, here we go. Obviously remember it's got no radiator because they're further back. Early production Dolphin, examined extensively by the Germans. Note the gears of the CC synchronization system. A29. Sorry. A29. That's one of the part numbers they're referring to. Let's try to spot it. A35. Where is that? Anyway, can't spot it. Here. A29 is the part number. Photo and all the others of the V8 geared Hisso engine powered the Dolphins unless specified otherwise. Okay. Then you go, oh, this is where I get a bit nervous. Look at this. Rigging. Oh, there's tons of it. Oh my god. And you've got some rigging guide here. Oh. And then people say, why don't you do them? World War One aircraft, you've got plenty of them. So I start biting my nails and start sweating. The very thought of it. Airspeed indicator here. This is your main cockpit area now, and it's got the painting guide here showing you all the colours it should be. Fuselage, just got a hole to drill there, and then again drilling a hole for the torque wire. The tail skid. Two options, the steel one on the right or the wooden one on the left. A29. Right, I found that one I was just musing over a few seconds ago. The pressurising the CC synchronisation system. So this is the gun synchronisation system, part A29, there it is. So this is what we were talking about, this is what synchronises the guns. Stops them from shooting off your own propeller. So it's an interrupter gear basically for the machine guns. Stops the guns firing when the prop is in the way, which is very important. And then we've got our holes being drilled for the bomb carrier. We've got some rigging. Oh, rigging. Oh. Rigging coming in here. We've got spade grip here. Control column, control horns, all that sort of stuff, and you get your main elevators and tailplane, horizontal tailplane, and your lower wing. Sorry, I think I can hear my cat meowing somewhere. I think she's wanting her lunch, she'll have to wait. And then we've got the radiators. Now these are the radiators that we were talking about, the early production radiators with shutters, which are... Where are they going? Where do those radiators go? Yes, they do go. They do go here. Look on the side. So they have like an intake. They call them shutters, but it's like an intake and a shutter. Shut, open, shut. Yeah. Interesting. And there's the later version here. Such a lot to take in, isn't there? You got your fin runner. Fin in the rudder there, and here we've got the early radiator production detail, some photographs. Aileron pulley inspection door, so they could check on the aileron pulleys. Wow, built into the wing, right at the front of the wing there. Look, wow. That's cool. Top wing and ailerons, you can see now you've got this design where they split the wing so you've got this better visibility, which is the name of the game. And then here's the upward firing Lewis gun. It does show it as an option here. Look at this, Lewis gun. upward firing, so I'm sure that's helping the visibility too much, but you've got your control horns going in there, you've got all your ailerons going on as well. Top shield and cabane strut detail from early production Sopwith built Dolphin that was shown on page 22. This is the early production aircraft, yet to have its Aldis sight installed. Still carries brackets for both the port and starboard Lewis machine guns. Okay, there it is. Cable cocking device. Jeez. So, quite complex, aren't they, for an early aircraft? Now here you've got your optional, you've got your V struts. I think there's both versions here. You've got the wooden version or the steel version. And then you've got your wheels going on there, and you've got your propeller. And then we've got the bomb carrier that's got to go underneath. And then over here, which I need to zoom back for, we've got a lovely illustration showing the aircraft and all the damn rigging. Oh my god, it's enough to give me PTSD. Look at it. Shocking. You're good at rigging? No problem. I'm afraid I'm a newbie at rigging. Can you tell? Here we go, different versions. So that's the Dover version. The one I like, which is this in almost a 1970s low-vis roundels and markings version. What do they call it? Red. Oh, here we go. Stationed at SARD. I didn't know what SARD was. It's the Southern Area Repair Depot. There you go. By March. Okay, it doesn't say where that was, unfortunately. Where was the repair depot? Finally destroyed in June 1918, that one was. Then we have got some of these guys. This guy's got 17 victories, amazing stuff. And another nice photograph of it there. This one is the Q, which has also got 17. Sorry, I said 17, I beg your pardon, it's not, it's a question mark. 1 victory, sorry. This is the 17 victories, the Q. It talks about Ronald Burns Bannerman was from Invercargill in New Zealand, where he learned to fly in 1916. He joined the Royal Flying Corps in March 1917, was posted to 79 Squadron. He was ultimately credited with 14 of his 17 victories while flying the Dolphin. Amazing. Returned to New Zealand after the war, become a barrister and solicitor, only interrupting his career to serve in the Royal New Zealand Air Force in the Second World War. Good Lord. He died in August 1978 at the age of 87. Well done to you, sir. Hats off to you. Brilliant. And then this is the one with 11 victories. This is the one A, which is H.J. Larkin. Some good photographs of it. And this is the Darragh Motor Company built one. It's quite a beefy aircraft. It looks strong, doesn't it, this plane? Short and sturdy and no messing about, you know. It doesn't look like a string bag all flimsy, does it? There's several ones here that have had 1 or 2 incidents, I think. Oh, this one's definitely had an incident. Come to grief after the wheels clipped an Avro 504, clipped its top wing. Oh, sorry, so the Avro 504's actually the one that's crashed into the Dolphin, unfortunately, yeah. Then we've got lots of pictures of them in service in the squadron lineup. Different radiator mountings. The cutouts in the bottom wing intended to... Oh, I see it now. Oh, wow, look at this. This is kind of weird, isn't it? The cutouts are proper big cutouts. Look at that. Big sections chopped out. Here. To improve visibility. I'm not sure about the aerodynamics of that, though. Jeez. In practice, they turned out to be completely useless, it says, and were dropped. No wonder. Yeah. There we go. And then he finishes off with... Whoops. finishes off with a nice picture of a dolphin. And our heroes from Wingnut Wings, the guys that did all the work and made it happen. And yeah, we've got production design Darren Mildenhall, who I believe has returned to Qatari along with Richard Alexander. Yeah, very, very nicely done. I think most of those guys are now working at Qatari, if I'm honest, but I'm not sure about all the details. Fantastic. Let's have a quick look at the plastic and I'll have to go and feed my cat. Because she can hear it crying. Right, so we've got some clear parts that you won't bother with. Because there's a little screen, isn't there? And a couple of lights. Is that the windows? You just go back a second. Back to the... It doesn't offer you the option of having those cutouts, does it? I didn't see that. No, surely not. You can have a wing mount. I missed that though. Wing mounted Lewis gun, which I didn't pick up on. Look at that. I didn't spot that. You can have your Lewis gun mounted on your lower wing. Right here. Look at this. See that? On the port wing. Oh, it's both wings in fact. Lewis gun mounted on both lower wings. That would be quite cool, wouldn't it? But it doesn't give you the cutout option, does it? Which is probably as well. Because it's kind of weird, isn't it, really? Yeah, it's not included as a cutout. So that is one option that is not in there. Then we have got our separate Hispano Suiza engine, the V8 engine, which we have seen before, of course, in the SE5. And a very, very beautiful bit of moulding as usual. And then we've got our main parts there, here we go. Wingnut Wings just did this so competently, didn't they? You know, it's like every time they produce one of these kits, the quality was right first time, no question. No warping, no shrinkage, no bowing, no short shots, no nonsense at all. Perfect. And of course, it was done in China for them, so you know, it's all about where you go to have the work done, isn't it? It wasn't done by themselves as such. Look at the detail. You can see all the ribbing on the elevators, and here are those intakes, and for the radiators on the side. It's quite an advanced looking design. That's the open style. This is the more closed style here, and there's the actual doors which close, shut the radiators. Nice, isn't it? Two different versions of the front intake, one when there's a radiator and one when there isn't. So that's very nice. Then we've got the main wings. Let's come back a little bit for this. Main wings. Beautifully moulded as usual. And all the ribbing that you'd expect. Really nice. Fantastic. Superb. That's really, really nice. And we've got all our ailerons at the bottom, both top and bottom wings. And then last but not least, all the detail parts, all the interesting parts. So we've got our lovely propellers here. I'll zoom in a bit for this. Propeller and spinner, all in one, aren't they, really? So it has a built-in boss in effect. Ooh! With the bomb about to come off the sprue. Oh, can't have that, not from the LAST ARK. The bombs was about to leave there, the bottom right one as you're looking at it. It's back now. The little bombs. £50 bombs, I think, weren't they? You can see the two different styles of propeller. One's got a real twist in it and one's more of a straight style. And then we've got our Vickers gun here. Plus the barrels. Got our cabane struts here. And then we have got our wheels. A funky Lloyd loom woven chair look. See that? Fantastic. Loom chair. There's the seats cushion. And then we've got our wheels. And that's the wheels themselves on the left. And wheels and tyres on the right. It's like a one-sided thing. So you've got the outer thin rubber tyre. I think they were solid, weren't they? Were they solid? Not absolutely sure. No, they can't be. They've got a valve, haven't they? If you look carefully, you can see the valves, can't you, there? I'll zoom in a bit more. Make out the valve at the bottom. So they were pneumatic. And then we've got the fuel tank that sits right behind the Lloyd loom chair where the pilot sits. Yeah, that's pretty safe, isn't it, right? Got your exhausts over here, and they look really nicely done. Look at those exhausts. Exits. And we've got our pitot monitor sensor, the airspeed indicator, and one's a thermometer, I think, temperature gauge and pitot. And then you got your struts for these, the gear. You've got a couple of magazines there for the Lewis gun. And that's kind of it, really. But some beautiful moulding here. Look at the detail here. Look at that. Isn't that nice? You've got spare, see right there, dead centre of the screen, you've got spare magazines for the machine guns. And then you've got this area of the opening of the cockpit. And then you've got the front of the bulkhead where the instrumentation is. It's really nice, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. And over here, I didn't realise that's the actual machine guns cooling jackets at the top there, and then a couple of cabane struts underneath. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just going to turn around on this Lloyd loom chair and have a look at it on the other side. Can we see that? I think we can. Yeah. You can see the weave. Can you see the weave in it? Just about to make it heavy, get rid of the reflections. Yeah, the weave. Absolutely epic. What a wonderful model. Lovely kit, that. Well up to the usual standards of Wingnut Wings, and as I say, allegedly it's come from the final LAST ARK container that came out of New Zealand, so we're not going to be seeing any more of them, really. I think that's probably the last one. Still got to get my hands on one of those Gopher bombers, though. I have got the Sea Bomber version. Is it the Gopher 4 or the Gopher 5? I can't remember. That's very collectible. And you can get your hands on one today if you want to pay 800 quid for one. Oh, nasty. It's a 10 out of 10, predictably. No great surprise there. They still represent the peak. And I have to say to Qatari, I still think that these have got an appeal, a shelf appeal, I mean, that outstrips the Qatari. And I think the only issue is the Qatari's still got some rather low-key artwork. This is beautiful. Look at the colours, and you've got the silver hot foil that's been applied around the box. Makes it something special. Just lifts it, makes it pop. And again, you've got your silver hot foil here as the title. Just a little bit more special and upmarket looking than some of the Qatari releases, which I know we've got Darryl Legg, who's the artist. It's a different artist, isn't it? Anderson. Yeah, Anderson was the artist on these. I'm not really convinced about Darryl Legg's artwork being quite as good, if I'm honest. I don't really negative, you know. Some of it's been better. I've got to say the Messerschmitt 109K4 was better, I thought. A bit more lively and a bit more vivid and exciting. One or two of them, though, have been very dour, you know. They're underselling it. They're not giving it shelf appeal, whereas that has got shelf appeal in spades to me. And we don't want to have, you know, because the Qatari products are very, very good. Only they'd put an engine in there. I know I always say it, but they've got engines in. They were beautiful, you know. It's flawless, 10 out of 10, you know. I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to give a Qatari a 10 out of 10 because it doesn't have an important component that should be in there isn't there. I do wish they'd changed direction on that, I really do. Anyway. We do miss Wingnut Wings though. You know, open a new to me anyway, product like that, and you realise what we've lost. They were remarkable. They were remarkable. I mean, people that do like World War One models, like my brother-in-law, it must have been like, you know, all the Christmases and birthdays came at once with Wingnut Wings. You just don't get that quality and attention to detail heaped into something. And I know the cynical amongst you will say, well, yes, but he was getting a lot of government grants and this, that and the other. But even so, it was just lovingly done, wasn't it? In a way that Zokimura, Tamiya and others get very close to. But and Kataria are there, aren't they? Because they're not doing the engines, they're not quite the same. And it doesn't matter whether you like engines or you don't, or you disagree with me. It's still not quite the same as what we had here, because this didn't have that potential weakness. It had everything it should have. It's perfect. It's the perfect model kit, isn't it? So yeah, I just wish we could get closer back to that again. Anyway, there we go. 10 out of 10 from me. Hope you give me a thumbs up. Give me 10 out of 10. It's very important for the channel. Hope you enjoyed seeing something I've not reviewed before. Something that is almost new. Almost 6 years old. But they're so hard to get yourself one of those now that's in mint condition. Obviously this will now be wheeled away, you know, and have the ending that we all expect. Which is the way this video is probably going to end, to be quite honest. So, without further ado, I'll say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please look after yourselves till next time. And do stay to the very end of the video, because I think you'll enjoy it. And we will inevitably put this kit somewhere very, very safe. Okay? Till next time, thanks a lot. Take care of yourselves, and bye for now.